In Britain, border control officials hold up Muslims more than people from other groups, according to one human rights group. Cage reports that officials are using counter-terrorism powers known as Schedule 7 to question anyone, even if they're not suspected of a crime. And in the last decade, 88% of those stopped were Muslims, as the group said. Cage wants the practice defined as structural Islamophobia. The report also found that out of a sample of 420,000 people held up under Schedule 7, only 30 were convicted of a crime. Some Muslim women say they were forced to remove their headscarves. Others report that they were asked about how they practice Islam, including how often they prayed. Well, Azad Ali is the Community Relations Director at Cage, and he joins me for more here in the studio. Thank you very much, Azad, for coming in. So first of all, how did you carry out this research?
Since our inception, actually, we've been collating data. We've been getting people from the community contacting us, telling us of their experience. This piece of legislation has been around since 2001, so it's nearly 20 years it's been around, and it's had a huge impact on the Muslim community. So from our conversations with people, we realised that this piece of legislation in particular was profiling and targeting Muslims and wasn't fit for purpose. So the last 20 years, we're talking about when we talk about the 88% Muslims and 420,000... So that's a Cambridge University research that found that at a particular airport. One of the major problems we have with this policy and with this legislation is that the government and the Home Office is very secretive about the details of the stops. So one of the things we've been asking the government constantly is tell us the religious breakdown of those people that you stop. They refuse to release this information, even though we know they are collecting it. And I think, the fundamental...
Should this legally not be provided, though?
Yeah, exactly. I mean, these are the questions we're asking. The stats that we have, the 420,000 you mentioned, this is from 2011 onwards. Prior to 2011, 2010, we don't have any data because the Home Office would not release it. So we're estimating, at least in the last 19 odd years, around 1 million people have been stopped with this draconian law, which has, as you mentioned, almost like, after 20 years, to only have 30 or 44 people actually overall to be convicted, it shows it's a big sledgehammer to crack a nut.
So just to clarify it, so the numbers that we have put out there is actually taken by a Cambridge study taken by students
the 88%
over there.
is
But you are saying the Home Office or is not providing the numbers
from the data we've collected
together.
Yeah.
So why do you want to define as structural Islamophobia?
Well, we know it's targeting Muslims. Vast majority of the people, so it's broken down in ethnicity. And from that, what we can tell is that vast majority of the people that are being stopped are from South Asian or Arab background, if you like. So we suspect that the majority profiling is taking place on the Muslim community. And the law, I mean, one thing that must be understood by your viewers is that this law does not require any suspicion for people to be stopped. So people are being stopped without any suspicion. So you've not done anything wrong, but you can be stopped for 6 hours and you have to answer every question.
But looking at the times, I mean, these numbers should be provided, of course, by the Home Office, but looking at the numbers that you have collected here and found out, I mean, the Times also refer to when Daesh was really active and was taking out terrorist attacks across Europe and also in the UK. So, well, looking at those days, what if you would have lost a loved one?
I think there needs to be a clarity. We want laws that protect us, definitely. What we don't need is laws that are draconian, that have zero impact. I mean, the fact that out of 420,000 people, 99.993% of them are innocent, have not been charged, have not been convicted, shows that this law is not fit for purpose. The fact that as a citizen, I can be detained, my liberty, Article 5 of the European Convention on Human Rights, my liberty can be taken away from 6 hours without any due process. I have to answer every single question that is being asked of me, no matter how ridiculous. Actually, a murderer has more rights than a person that is innocent being stopped at a border control. So this is what the problem is. The law is not fit for purpose. It is not actually making us safer. If anything, the impact is negative. It is making a lot of people, if you read our report, a lot of people feel harassed, a lot of people feel humiliated, a lot of people feel that they're being criminalized. How is this a positive interaction in dealing with a scourge of violence.
But as you said, looking at that report, you're not in touch with the Home Office. You can't get the numbers from them. So that shows that there is no communication channels open. So what kind of impact can it really have? So
they are open. They are open.
OK, to make a change...
It's just that they don't give the answers.
And to make a change. So the reason you do this is to make a change. How do you make it without being
we're asking the all-party parliamentary group on Islamophobia to actually look at this data. We think this law is Islamophobic. I don't know if you recall when the Islamophobia definition was adopted by this parliamentary group, the highest officer of the counter-terrorism police in the UK said that the definition, we cannot adopt it because it will hamper our counter-terrorism tactics. This is a tactic that is Islamophobic, Schedule 7. And here we had an officer saying the definition will be problematic. So we're asking these politicians, the APPG on Islamophobia, to look at our report, question the Home Office and find out what's going on here. I mean, look, all of us want to feel safe. That's not even a question. But what we can't have is laws coming in one after the other that are taking away yours and my right as a citizen. And this is what we're challenging.
Well, that's all the time we have, but thank you very much for coming in, Azad Ali.
Thank you.